are It's Just a Hill, a cycling club that promotes inclusion, judgment-free, with no gatekeepers. Focused on creating content from behind the handlebars to in the studio, It's Just a Hill is producing videos and podcasts to spread the message that cycling is for everyone. We are focused on reminding everyone that riding your bike can help you overcome any obstacle, because after all, it's just a hill.
Wow, hello and welcome to a special episode of the It's Just a Hill podcast. I am John Stenning. Alongside me is Cal Goodhouse. Hello, Cal.
How's it going?
Previous guest of the podcast, pivotal member of It's Just a Hill. Wow. Yeah. Thank you for being here, Cal.
Thanks for having me back.
You're so welcome. This is a special, I started the episode with a wow. Mm-hmm. And I said this is a special episode of the podcast because we are here to preview the 2022 Tour de France, right? The 109th men's version, and maybe the first Tour de France Femme, being the first edition of the women's race, which is kind of not true, even though that's what we're hearing everywhere.
Hell yeah. Yeah, very excited. It's the best time of the year, in my opinion.
Yeah, summer is in true swing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. The 109th edition of the tour, have you watched all 109 versions, Cal?
I have not. I've read about a lot of them.
Oh, have you?
Yeah, I read a couple, like, history of the tours.
Oh, yeah.
That kind of thing.
Yeah. Like, just like nonfiction books?
Indeed.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Interesting. Starts July 1st. We are recording this on June 29th, so I'm going to have to put this out tomorrow because of time zones. By the time everyone wakes up on Friday, the tour will be on, right? I mean, it starts this Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that is...
So you can listen to it while we're predicting or you can watch the tour while listening to our predictions of who's going to win on Friday.
And I guess we're not entirely sure how many of these episodes that we're going to do, but... I don't know. It'll be fun.
A couple, 2 or 3, hopefully.
And we'll sprinkle some throughout the next 21 stages, 24 days. And I guess most people that ride their bikes know about the Tour de France, or most people that don't ride their bikes know about it. It's the biggest cycling event in the world.
It is, indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of all the Grand Tours, it's definitely, it's like the Super Bowl of cycling.
Yes.
The Vuelta, the Giro, those are arguably more interesting races at times. They're less predictable. The courses are more varied, but the Tour is still the pinnacle of cycling.
Yes.
You can tell the riders just want to win those stages more. It's by far the most competitive. All the teams send their best riders. Yeah. It's the best. Yeah, I guess is that why you think it's more predictable than the Giro or the Vuelta? Because everyone is like, well, we're sending Primos, Jumbo's sending Primos, and UAE's sending Pog, right? Yeah, the predictably has to do, I think, with the climbs to some extent.
Sure.
In France, the climbs tend to be longer, less steep, as opposed to Italy and Spain, where you can have some insanely steep climbs that can really destroy a race. And the tour's been going on so long that sometimes the organizers will stick to the same route the same year over year.
So there's more knowledge.
Not the exact same route, but they'll this year's, for instance, we go up the Alpe d'Huez, which it has been visited 30-something times in the history of the tour.
So, that's it?
I think so. Or at least that's hosted the finish at least 30 times. They may have probably gone up over it more.
To me, Alpe d'Huez is the climb of the tour.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's just because it's fun to say, right? But so we mentioned it's the 109th edition of the tour. What is your history with watching the Tour de France?
Yeah, so I probably started watching it in 2010, 2011. That was back when the Andy Schleck versus Contador years.
Post Lance Armstrong.
Yeah,
after Lance Armstrong. Interesting.
Yeah. I think I might have seen a bit of Lance's comeback tour, but that was back when I was still just doing 50-mile rides. I'd go out in the morning, do a 50-mile ride, come home, get a burrito, eat it, fall asleep on the couch, watching that day's stage.
Wow.
Wake up in time for the last 20 kilometers. And it's just, it's summertime. It's magical.
Yeah.
What about you?
So like my dad is into cycling and like always has been. And so like as far as like my life is concerned, so I watched it growing up. Like it was always on TV. It's being the Super Bowl of cycling. It's like the easiest one to watch. Yeah. Even now we have to chase down certain races. Grand Tours are a little bit easier to watch with like internet coverage and stuff, but certain classics and certain like week-long stage races can be hard to watch. The Tour never was. It was on NBC Sports or whatever. And so like it's something that to me was like coincided with summer. And like, I mean, I loved Lance Armstrong, you know, he was the man. I was not riding my bike. My dad was really into it. And I like watching sports. Like I like watching basketball and baseball and stuff. And to me, it was like a really fun, exciting sport to watch because of the fan engagement. And, you know, it was just the sport of it was interesting. And like Lance being this icon of American cycling at the time.
Yeah. He was huge. Like transcended the sport in the way that like, that's why probably a lot of people know about the Tour, especially here in America. Right. That's a very like, ethnocentric way of thinking about things. Right. But like here in America, it's not Belgium. Right. Right. No, Live Strong, that whole foundation was huge.
Right.
Huge effect on America in the late 90s, early 2000s. Unfortunately, you know, now sort of a tarnished legacy, but
clouded by but that's okay. Yeah, I mean, it was fun watching at the time. Yeah, and like we're not here to defame Lance Armstrong, but I'm not wearing a Live Strong bracelet all the time anymore. You know, so earlier the 21 stages of the Tour, they go around the country of France, right? It is a Tour of France. This year, they are actually starting in Denmark with 2 stages in Denmark, in Copenhagen. And a lot of crosswinds, a lot of wind in Denmark.
Hopefully a lot of crosswinds. Well, it depends how you feel about crosswind stages. Sometimes they can be a little sad in that there's inevitably some GC contender who gets wiped out by the crosswinds. Yeah. But the first week of this tour, if it's anything, could be very unpredictable. And we're hoping that there's some ambushes. We're hoping Jumbo and Ineos really try to blow up the race. Really take it to UAE.
Both super strong teams, like full team lineups. Yeah.
So we could, you know, hopefully those crosswinds are a factor. Otherwise, it's going to be 2 very flat stages to start off.
Yeah, so it's 2 days in Denmark, and then there's a transfer day?
We got a time trial in Copenhagen, then 2 flat stages, then the transfer.
Gotcha. On Monday.
Yep.
Yeah. Quick fun fact I had written down here. 6,000 wind turbines in Denmark, which supply the country with more than half of its electricity.
Amazing.
Yeah. I mean, that's just great. So I just quickly here, before we get into it, I am like, I guess I could also be saying this at the end, but I'm very excited about this tour. Cycling is, I would call it, I wrote down here, a golden era of cycling or a crypto era. I was trying to make a bad joke while I was like writing this right up. But like they're fighting for the whole season, like these like champions of cycling, and in such a way that you're getting comparisons of multiple cyclists to the greats like Eddie Merckx and Greg LeMond, right? And so it's just, I feel like it's not just Grand Tour people or classics people. I mean, that still very much happens, and you can sort of make predictions based on that. But there's so much in the talent of cycling these days that is like very exciting.
Yeah. And hopefully we'll see a new chapter in not 1 but 2 of the sport's biggest rivalries. So we've got Roglic versus Pogačar, and Wout van Aert versus Matthew Vanderpool.
Yes.
And like you said, you know, those riders have sort of redefined or brought back what cycling used to be, in that you got a guy like Wout who can win a sprint, win a time trial, win a mountain stage. During that Lance Armstrong era, we did not have that.
No.
Riders would only, you know, win in the mountains or only win GC.
People would drop out. Sprinters would drop out all the time once they like hit the mountains, right? Like that was I mean, that happens sometimes now. Yeah. But it's not even like accepted. It almost seems disrespectful.
Yeah, and we've got, you know, Roglic and Pogačar winning monuments. Pog was second at Flanders this year, which again, that's just like, you know, like an Eddie Merckx style. You never saw Froome or Armstrong,
Contador
winning on the cobbles or coming close to winning on the cobbles. It was unheard of in the modern era. So, yes, we are 100% in a golden age of cycling.
Yeah, I think it's great. Also, there's a Netflix series coming about this tour, which I think could really help, especially the American audience. Right, it's an 8-episode series. It will follow 8 teams. We're not sponsored by Netflix, but I think that's cool.
Yeah, it's exciting. That Formula One series that they did got a lot of people into Formula One.
Supposed to be like that, right? Like very similar.
Yeah, if you get the same production quality, really, going to get great to see behind the curtain of some of those teams.
Yeah, because there's been some things like that recently. There's a Jumbo documentary that recently was released on YouTube. I think it's been out for a little while, but it was behind a paywall. And then there was the Movie Star, 2 seasons of covering Movie Star.
Yeah,
what was that on?
That's on Netflix.
Oh, that is on Netflix.
Yeah, it's called The Most Unexpected Day, or something like that. Least Expected Day. Excuse me. Which is it's great to watch. Also kind of hilarious because they are terrible team. Not a terrible team, but they make terrible decisions.
Sure.
Those riders do not work together very well.
Yeah.
So it's sort of...
To me, that is like so interesting, right? Yeah. Because most of the time you see them, they're just on their bikes, like in their tight clothes and with their helmets, but the personalities that are behind these riders, and the more I watch pro cycling, like as someone that rides, right? Because I was just watching it as someone that wasn't into bikes. And now that I think about even though I've only done like a handful of races, the strategy behind it and like how certain things are important, even like bike fit. And I hear that's like some guys don't even like get like true bike fits. They're just getting like thrown on bikes and stuff. So like that seems wild to me. That seems not even true.
Yeah.
Like why would that even be the case? But the personalities and having to basically do what, like, I don't know, like not that it's bad to like do what your coach says or do what your team leader does, but like.
Yeah, that first season of the Movistar doc, you saw Mikel Landa, who's supposed to be the team leader, just basically tank the time trial, and Carapaz emerges as the team leader. And it was sort of interesting to see them sort of deal with that ego and things like that.
Yeah, so 8 teams in this Netflix one. So that'd be cool to see all of that.
Definitely.
Yeah. So first thing, let's get into the sort of overall talk of the race, right? We talked about some heavy hitters earlier. One thing that I think we should talk about is the GC, right, or general classification favorites. So the GC, or the yellow jersey, right, that's the leader of the race. That means you have done the race in the least amount of time of everyone. Yeah. And I guess it gets a little bit more complicated that with time bonuses, right? Because if you finish a stage first, or you reach a certain King of the Mountain first, or get a sprint, you get time bonuses for all of those?
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's on every stage, but certainly most of the summit finishes, there's at least, I think, a 10-second time bonus, 12-second time bonus, something like that. Yeah. Roglic is, if you watch him in the Vuelta, he gobbles those up as best he can. And so, it certainly makes for an interesting race.
Yeah, so you mentioned, like, Primož Roglic, right? Team Jumbo-Visma, Tadej Pogačar, however you want to say it. I will probably butcher more than one name on this.
Pog and Rog, yeah.
Exactly. And for GC contenders, you also mentioned Wout van Aert, Mathieu van der Poel. Maybe not so much GC contenders, especially because of the way their teams are suited, right? Wout being on the same team as Primož.
Right.
And Matthew not really having the strongest team, no offense to them, but like that's not really what he's going for, I don't think.
No, Matthew's team is built sort of around him and Jasper Philipsen, their sprinter. Matthew says he's going to chase stage wins, not the green jersey.
Right. We'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jonas Vingegaard, also from Team Jumbo-Visma. Danny Martinez, Alexander Vlasov, and you wrote it, Geraint Thomas.
Well, John.
Okay, you really think that he is...
Hey, not so much what I think.
Because you also wrote outsiders, though, so that's why I have to call you out here. Well, you added 3 outsiders, and Geraint Thomas is not on that list.
So if we look
and my boy Thibaut Pinot is.
If we look at the bookmakers, okay?
What is this? Is this like betting?
Yeah. If you look at the sports betting sites like FanDuel.
Yeah.
Tadej Pogačar, obviously the overwhelming favorite.
Yes.
5-4 odds. Most places have Vingegaard on par with Roglic at 6-1. And then in fourth place is Geraint Thomas.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so what goes into that? I do not bet. I do not look at sports betting. When you even say 5-4, I don't know why that's good.
Betting is like the one vice that I don't have, so I'm
great.
not the expert on this either.
Yeah.
I think the logic is probably that Thomas is a former winner.
Sure.
This race is heavy on time trials. There's something like 50K of time trial, and Thomas is a time trial specialist.
He's also a specialist at falling over.
Falling off his bike. Yeah. If he can get through the cobbles on stage 5,
yes,
he might have a shot.
Yes. I wish him the best. I don't want him to fall all the time. I also, okay, so we should say outsiders, Yates, Bardet, and Pinot, all in pretty good form this time of year. I think Thibaut Pinot will take a stage win, at least one. He's been in great form, and I would love to see it. He's like the same age as me, so it makes me feel good.
Hell yeah.
Who is your pick? Who is your pick?
Well, before we get into that, I think we should give the listeners a little review of the Pogačar versus Roglic.
Oh, okay. I love this
backstory, because this is, again, in my opinion, the greatest sports story of the modern era. So 2020, Pogačar it's his first tour. Okay, he finished third in the Vuelta the year before. Yeah. Roglic is, Pog is 21 at this point. Roglic is about 10 years older than him. Jumbo has built a super team around him. He's got Wout. He's got Tom Dumoulin. Yep. All the best super domestiques with him. And Pogačar, and they're both from Slovenia. Okay, they're countrymen. Pogačar loses like 2 minutes early on stage 6 in a crosswind stage.
In the 2020 tour.
This is the 2020 tour.
Yeah.
Roglic basically has this race in hand. Pog has no team to support him. Roglic basically lets Pog sit on his wheel and follow him around, and even lets him win a stage at some point. Lets him go up the road because he doesn't really see him as a threat. Stage 20, the final time trial of the race, Roglic has a minute.
It was unbelievable.
And Pogačar goes out and he does probably the greatest time trial in the history of the sport and takes back 2 minutes on Roglic.
On a time trial.
The images from that stage, you've got Wout and Dumoulin watching it in utter disbelief.
Primo's helmet is like way cocked back off of his head. His hair is sticking out in the front.
Yeah.
He looks wrecked.
Yeah.
He is in the yellow jersey. Yeah. So that means he goes last in the time trial.
He had been leading that race for the last
2.5 weeks.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, okay. Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah. So, again, a huge upset. Huge.
Yeah.
We haven't seen anything like that in years.
Right.
So then 2021 comes. Everybody's ready for the big showdown. There's massive crashes on the first day of the tour.
Yeah.
Sonny Corbelli knocks Roglic off his bike. He bangs his hips. He tries to hang in there for a couple more stages and then has to withdraw.
Right.
And then
he was wrecked after that stage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pogačar basically gets a free run at yellow. Vingegaard, Roglic's teammate, comes in 5 minutes down on Roglic. I mean, on Pogačar.
On Pog, yeah.
So now this year, hopefully, pray to whoever you want to pray to that we get.
Lance Armstrong.
That we finally get the Pogačar versus Roglic showdown.
Yes.
That we've been waiting for.
Yeah, I am a Jumbo fanboy.
Hell yeah.
Right? I just love them. I love what they sort of stand for as a team, and I like most of the people. I like all of the people on their team.
Yeah.
And I have nothing against Pog, but I like that Primoz is 10 years older, and Pog's gonna. How many tours is Pog gonna win in the next 10 years?
Right. Yeah.
He's won 2 of 2.
Pog is kind of like the boy who will be king.
Sure.
He's undoubtedly going to be around for a long time.
Yeah, but he's kind of like Joffrey Baratheon in that way.
Right. Blonde.
Yeah. Blonde. He's always wearing fur coats and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, he seems like he's fun. I mean, and he's young, right?
Right.
And I really have no problem with his personality, but I don't know. The UAE.
Right.
I don't like that either.
Yeah, it's funny how a team's sponsors can kind of trickle down and affect their overall.
I don't know. There's something about certain teams that make me feel weird. I don't know.
Sure.
Like I don't love Quickstep.
Yeah.
Is that because of Lefebvre?
Probably.
Is that also because of Cav? Yes, a little bit.
Same.
I like other people. Like I love Alaphilippe. I wish he was in the Tour. He's not in the Tour this year, right? I enjoy Remco Evenepoel.
Sure.
But it's just something about that team. Ineos, I get the same vibe. Not just because Geraint Thomas is on that team, but you know what I mean? There's something, and especially when they were so dominant, when they were Team Sky, and Froome was on that team, and Froome was that rider like Pog that is just cleaning up, right? And I don't know. I like to see more of a competition, I guess.
Yes, of course.
If Pog wins by 14 seconds on the last day, great. Awesome tour. Sure. You know what I mean?
Sure.
That'll be cool.
Yeah. We want a duel in the Alps,
right.
in the Pyrenees.
Right.
But you know who I'm not that stoked on, actually, is Vingegaard.
Oh, no. Why not?
Because Vingegaard reminds me of that like 17-year-old Cat 4 junior who chases down his own teammate because he thinks that he's destined to win the race.
Yeah, so I hope it's not that angle.
Right.
To me, the only angle that gets Jonas the win is that if Primoz does drop out or something tragic happens to him, which no one wants, right? But I think Jonas has the potential. Hopefully he has the smarts not to make a silly decision like you're saying.
Yeah, hopefully he's a team player.
Yeah.
And, Roglic is the better time trialist.
Sure.
If you look at their results from this year, it seems like Roglic goes about 10 seconds better every 10 kilometers per time trial. So he should,
There's really 50K of time trials between two stages?
Yeah, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it's a 10K or just under 10K prologue, stage one, and then the final stage is a 40-kilometer rolling.
Oh, yeah, it's 13K stage one.
Yeah.
Wow. So 37 for the... Wow. Interesting.
Yeah. Vingegaard, he has talked a big game. He thinks he's going to win. And having a two-pronged attack can really put UAE under a lot of pressure. You send one rider up the road, you force Pog to chase, it gives the other guy an easy ride. But, is Vingegaard going to be willing to sacrifice his own GC standings for Roglic if they're in that position?
Yeah, hopefully the team dynamics are right to make that the right decision.
And that's the other thing. When you have two teammates on GC who are close together, you always get questions from the press. Like every press conference after a stage, if one of these guys is in yellow, they're going to be getting questions about that. And we don't really know to what extent that affects them and affects their team dynamic, but UAE is all in for Pogačar. They don't have any distractions. So
that could help. That could be a benefit.
Yeah,
right.
We'll see.
Even though they don't have the strongest overall team.
Right.
So yeah, other than the yellow jersey, there's also the white jersey, which is also like a GC classification, but for young riders, right? All riders under 25. Jonas, you can just take that one. Just use... Yeah. Well, actually, Pog will just get it.
It's probably going to be Pog.
Yeah, Pog will just get it. De facto, Jonas will get it.
Right.
So also, let's talk about sprinters a little bit.
Sure.
Actually, I'd like to talk about the green jersey first.
Okay.
And then go to sprinters. Because I think that's interesting that it is two separate categories, even though the green jersey is like a sprinters category, right?
Yeah.
But the green jersey... to me, is a rider that can sustain themselves throughout the course of the tour, as opposed to someone winning sprint stages.
For sure.
Or winning bunch sprints.
If you look at Peter Sagan, has won the green jersey 7 times. Okay,
yeah.
He's tied for the record. Actually, if he gets it this year, he'll break the record. But Sagan basically got those 7 green jerseys by doing pretty well in the sprints. He's not a pure sprinter. He can occasionally win, a flat sprint, but also in that second and third week, getting in breakaways, there's a sprint. There's sprint points sort of in the middle of stages sometimes.
Right.
So if you get up the road in the breakaway, you can gobble up some of those
Right, you don't have to be necessarily winning stages
Right.
to be getting the green jersey because you're getting the intermediate sprints is what they call them, right? Yeah.
And in this tour in particular, there's not a lot of opportunities for pure sprinters like Jakobsen, Ewan, and Groenewegen.
Yep.
So you're far more likely to see somebody like Wout or Sagan or a Mads Pedersen, a guy who gets in the breakaway consistently. Those guys have a much better chance of getting the green jersey, I think, this year.
Yeah. So your pure sprinters are your Jakobsen, your Caleb Ewan, your Dylan Groenewegen, right? Mm-hmm. And you think, and that's just the way that the stages are designed?
Yeah, well, again, you've got the 2 flat stages in Denmark. Jakobsen has probably the best sprint train with quick step.
Right.
But Groenewegen might be the better sprinter. We'll see. I mean,
they've been sort of battling it a lot this year.
Yeah. And Ewan, again, also an incredible sprinter.
For sure.
So, yeah, it's really a bit of a crapshoot, those first couple of stages. If the crosswinds don't rip it up, if everybody stays together, we'll see one of those 3 riders probably winning the stage for sure.
So green jersey competition, right? So you wear the green jersey, you get these points. Vanderpool and Wout, right? Another great rivalry. I think, this is another interesting. I'm just such a fanboy of Jumbo Visma, but I really love Wout.
Yeah.
And I think Mathieu is very interesting to watch, right? Like the multidiscipline, how he's great at cross, even though Wout is good at cross too. Mathieu said that he's only going to ride mountain bikes in 2023 or 2024 or something. I saw that as a headline. He's just going to do mountain bikes one of those years coming up.
Silly.
And he has had an interesting season. So has Wout. They both battle COVID at some point that took them out of something? I think basically everyone has
had COVID.
So that's been interesting, right? It has affected some riders in a very serious fashion, like Sonny Colbrelli, who we might probably never see again in a pro peloton. But some riders like Peter Sagan, I think, has had it 5 times maybe. He's gotten COVID at every chance. Every time his immune system wears down from having it the last time, he catches it again. It's something else.
Yeah.
But he seems to be in pretty good form. I think Vanderpool and Wout is interesting, right? Michael Matthews and Mads Pedersen, who you mentioned earlier. So
yeah, there are tons of opportunities for breakaways. There's a lot of rolling hills in this tour. So really, hopefully we'll see if Wout can get up the road if the other teams will let him go.
Right.
If they do, it can kind of certainly play into his, I think he'll gobble up those green jersey points, but could also help Roglic a lot because you send one guy up the road that way. You've got a satellite rider up to help you when
you go,
when the GC race explodes.
Right.
So,
right.
I think Wout will win the green jersey. I don't see a ton of competition there, to be honest. Maybe Peter shows up and is his old self.
Right.
That could be really exciting. Pedersen, I think, could, got the cobbled stage that he's built for, I'm sure. Peter Pedersen can do well in this flat sprints as well. So we'll see.
So I didn't write down much about this one, but there is another jersey, the polka dot jersey. As everyone knows what a KOM is on Strava, but the real king of the mountains is the polka dot jersey. I saw a guy the other day in a full polka dot kit on Beaver River Road, full polka dot kit. But let me tell you this. He was about 80. I think he said he was 83 years old.
Yeah.
And he was like, I used to be really good at climbing hills. And now he was on like this e-bike. And he's like, I use this e-bike to get out and around. And I was like, that rules. This guy is 83 and he was doing like 40 miles.
That's fair enough.
It's wearing a polka dot jersey is stolen valor. If you haven't really gotten a polka dot jersey, you shouldn't be wearing one.
Yeah.
Seeing someone wearing one with matching bibs is an experience.
Oh
yeah.
Yeah. Bernard Hinault, who is a 5-time Tour de France winner, once stated how he was horrified to see amateur riders riding around in yellow jerseys. But anyway, this year's KOM, I mean, it's up. It's hard to pick. Hoping that somebody like Pinot, Bardet, Warren Barguil, one of those French riders, goes for it. In the past, I think Pogačar won it the last 2 years because the Tour structured it so that there's a ton of points on offer for the last summit finish. I don't think that's the case this year.
Because they change the points year to year, how that class, how that works.
Yeah, so hopefully we get, a real battle there.
Right.
That'll be fun.
Right. But you can't have Pog walking away with 3 jerseys.
I know.
It's just, like, I don't even hate the guy. It's just like, it sucks. It's not interesting, right?
Yeah.
And especially because we get so amped about it being this golden era, the golden boy of the golden era, right? That is just like going to gobble up all these wins. I don't know. Okay. So 21 stages of the tour. We highlighted some of them. We are going to have other episodes where we recap certain stages of the tour, but going in, these are sort of the ones that you highlighted, right? So stage 1, we went over a little bit, 13-kilometer flat, technical time trial. You have 5 names highlighted here. Primoz, who we've talked about, Wout, who we've talked about, Filippo Ganna, a time trial specialist, the time trial world champion, is that right? Yeah. Vanderpool, and Casper Asgreen. Who do you have?
Well,
it's early. It's the first day, right?
I'll go with Ganna.
Me too. That's what I would say.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
All right. Well, if you're going Ganna, I'm going Wout.
Oh, okay. All right. Fine. That's totally fine. I will go Filippo Ganna. I feel like it is his chance to shine and to like stand out. That's not going to happen for him much otherwise. It's the first day of the tour. So I don't know if it's will it be a windy time trial?
I don't know. It's in the city.
Yeah.
Very technical, lots of turns. I don't think that wind would be a huge factor.
Right.
But Roglic also has to go all out here, I think.
Sure.
And we've seen at the Olympics and stuff, he is, one of a world-class time trialist.
Oh, for sure.
Vanderpool as well. It's a short effort, so something that suits him. He's wearing some $3,000 skin suit, apparently.
Yeah, $3,000. So I feel like if it's not Ghana, it would be Vanderpool for the same reason that I would pick Ghana. That it's that opportunity. The first week of the tour is going to be big for Vanderpool, just like the first week of the Giro was, right?
Yeah.
Like
that's where he's going to be going.
That's where he's going to shine. He's going to go after stuff, and
he wants to wear the yellow jersey again. He wore it last year,
right? Cry about his grandpa.
Yeah.
Oh.
You hate him.
I do hate him.
Oh, we should have talked about that. So
I don't want to defame anyone.
So why Wout and not Vanderpool? Why do you?
I don't know. There's something that makes me gravitate to Wout and not Vanderpool. And it's not even. It must just be. To me, it's more than just like their cycling prowess. It's like the way that they hold themselves in interviews. And I don't know. Wout seems more fun, I guess.
Okay.
I like that he dyes his hair a little bit in the front.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I don't have a real answer.
Well, it's cool because they have been racing each other since they were like 12.
Yes.
Vanderpool, the way he wins races is kind of by like blowing everybody out of the water.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen the 2019 Amstel Gold Race, go watch that. The way he wins it is just unheard of. He basically chases down the breakaway on his own and then wins the bunch sprint from the front. He doesn't.
Right. He's not drafting.
Anybody.
He's not.
He just wins from the front.
Yeah.
And he released his power numbers on Strava after that, and they are insane.
Yes.
But Vanderpool also, that whole Alpecin Fenix team, or Alpecin Deceuninck now is. It's all structured around Vanderpool pretty much.
Right.
They've built it around him. Whereas Wout is, he domestiques for his teammates. So they are sort of very interesting foils to one another, I'd say.
Yeah. I don't know. Wout feels like more of a team player in that regard. Not that Vanderpool isn't a team player. The team is just for him, right? So maybe that speaks to it. I don't know. When I watch them race cross, because I love that, right? There's a rivalry there too.
Sure.
And I like the way Wout races cross more than Vanderpool. I don't know. Like, there's just something about, like, he blows me away when I watch him race cross. Yeah. And that has a lot to do with it. They're just so much fun. Yeah. Yeah. They're both great.
Yeah, they're both in the middle of their careers. They get a lot. It's really fun to watch.
Right. So that'll be cool. Next stage that you highlighted is stage 5. I don't know how to pronounce this first one. Lille to Arenberg.
Mm-hmm.
That's 11 cobble sectors, half as many cobbles as Paris-Roubaix.
Yeah, it's about, we can call it like half a Paris-Roubaix.
Yeah.
So what's your take on cobbles in the Grand Tours?
Love them.
Love them?
Yeah, I love them. You can't have them too much, but I think they're interesting, and I don't know. I'm a person that enjoys to ride gravel and other types of surfaces.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure we're probably going to lose at least one of the GC contenders on this day.
Right. You noted here that Froome crashed out on the cobbles in 2014.
So this was the year after Froome won his first tour.
Yes.
He crashed out on stage 5 as well in 2014 and basically opened the door for Nibali to go on and win that year. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw somebody like Vingegaard go down.
Yep.
Both Pogačar.
These light young riders. Yeah.
Both Pogačar and Roglic raced cobbles earlier this spring.
Yes.
So not that concerned about either of them.
Vanderpool and Wout, great on them.
Yeah. And the front of this race is going to be amazing too, because we've got Vanderpool probably dueling it out with Wout, Pedersen, and hopefully Sagan as well is going to be up there. Plus a bunch of other teams are bringing guys to this race, I think, for this stage.
Right. Yeah, I hope Peter gets the first week that Vanderpool wants. You know, I would love to see Peter back, like in some sort of spotlight.
Yeah.
At least for a little bit, as foolish as a character as he seems. You know, with his big old Joker tattoo that says "Why so serious?"
Oh, God.
I think he has "Why so serious" tattooed on him more than once.
Oh, come on.
More than once. He's got one big piece with the Joker, Heath Ledger's Joker, and then he has got like another one. They're like, it's like on his kit. It's very cringy. Yeah. But I do love watching him. He's so interesting. Really fun to watch. So his bike handling skills are great. So to see him win on cobbles like this.
Yeah.
Right. It's those heavier built guys who are traditionally better because they don't bounce around as much. So yeah.
For sure.
Stage 8. First summit finishes on, please.
Planche de Belleville.
Thank you. Planche de Belleville. We have a link here on Climb Finder. Do you have that link up? I can pull it up.
Yeah, so this climb is one that has featured heavily in the past 10 years. I think we've visited it 5 times in the past 10 years or something like that. This is actually where they had the time trial in 2020 where Pogačar overhauled Roglic.
They had the time trial going up this thing?
Yeah.
It's 7 kilometers?
Yeah. This year, the Super Planche de Belleville means that it goes up the gravel road. So you've got about 1 kilometer of gravel.
Oh, I see that.
Near the very end, and then it turns back to pavement just for the last couple hundred meters. Where it gets very steep. You got a 24% little incline there.
Yeah, in that gravel section, it goes from 20 to 24 and then remains up at 24. Yeah.
And this isn't significant enough of a climb to create any big gaps on GC, but it is the first summit finish. So it's worth talking about because we may see a change in the yellow jersey here. Previous stage winner in 2019 was Dylan Toynes, who is in the race this year as well. And Giulio Ciccone, who is in second. Geraint Thomas in fourth.
In 2019.
Thibaut Pinot in sixth. Nairo Quintana, Fuglsang. Chris Froome, also a former winner in 2012.
He won this stage, the one that finished up here.
Yes.
Have they always done the Super?
No.
Is that new?
I think the Super was first introduced.
Gravel's so hot right now.
Yeah.
Put gravel into your stages. Put cobbles into your stages. Gravel's hot.
It is. So, all those guys are back, plus Roglic and Pogačar. This is going to be a very exciting stage. That is, if they don't just let the breakaway.
This is where Pog took the yellow in 2020?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, you got to pick? Anybody you feeling?
Well, of the people written down here, no. So I'll say I bet Pog wins it.
Okay.
Yeah, I bet Pog wins it. I don't know. He's just nearly unstoppable, right? And he always shines in those moments where he needs to shine. And I don't think. I mean, he's what, 23? So he doesn't even have that fear or like he doesn't back down. And
yeah,
hopefully he doesn't take the yellow and keep it. You know?
No, I don't think he will here.
What do you think?
I think you would probably get somebody like a Pinot. I would go for Pinot here, actually, because I think this is near where he lives.
Oh, love that motivation.
Kind of a hometown boy, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And he's, I think, just going to be hunting for stages. He usually does better in the first week of a tour, first 2 weeks.
For sure.
So, yeah, I'll go Pinot for this stage.
Amazing. So, yeah, that one's exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the next one, stage 11, Col de Granon.
Yep.
This is the highest point in the race.
Right.
It's the first time the race has gone over this climb before, but it's the first time a stage has ended here.
Finished here, right?
Yeah. It's 11.4 kilometer climb at 9% with an 18% maximum gradient. And whoever wins this stage, I'm gonna say, is gonna be the overall winner.
Yeah.
Because traditionally, often the first huge summit finish like this really reveals who's the strongest in the race. So barring accident or COVID or whatever, whoever wins here is probably going to take home the yellow jersey.
What a wild climb.
It is.
9.3 average gradient, 11 kilometers in length, and 1,000 meters, 1,059 meters.
Yeah.
Something else.
Yeah, I think it's...
you just can't climb like that around here.
2,500 meters above sea level? 2,400
2440 or something.
Yeah.
The next day is stage 12. Is it the next day or is there a transfer day in between?
I'd have to check.
Know. That's okay. It's Alpe d'Huez.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a traditional tour stage.
Right.
Let's see. I believe you get is it the Gallup?
Yeah, I got it right here. Look, this is one of the stages that gets 2 pages in Peloton magazine. Yeah, Alpe d'Huez is. Wait, how many? No. 1850 meters. Oh, this is really bad to look at, this magazine. You know what? I'm gonna just go back on Climb Finder. So it's the steepest 100 meters are 15%. It is 14 kilometers in length, 1,100 meters total ascent, 8% average gradient, and like you said, it's a famous climb of the tour. It's a standby. It's been in the tour 30 times, and it is. I don't know. It's one of the first like mountain finishes that I knew of like as a kid.
Right. Yeah, you're going over the Galibier, the Col de la Foix, and finishing on the Alpe d'Huez. So classic tour stage. And I think what's the length of the overall stage is relatively short. I want to say it's like 140 kilometers or something.
161.
161. So tough day for the sprinters there too.
Sorry, 165.1. But
they'll be fighting to stay within the time limit.
Yeah, and it's like you said, it's not the only climb. Col de la Gabaret, oh my God.
Galibier.
Mm-hmm. And then it's the LaCroix one. Col de la Croix de Fer. Wow, I never took French. This was a decision that I made before I realized how much French I was going to have to say. But like we said, legendary stage 12 of the tour, something to look forward to.
Yeah. And previous stage winners here are Thibaut Pinot and Jaron Thomas again.
Do you have his Wikipedia like highlighted?
No, I'm just trolling you.
Favorited? You have his favorite. Other people have won this stage, you know.
I think Thomas probably won't win, but he may very well be on the podium. I wouldn't expect a third place.
Oh, okay. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
If he wins, that's a bet to place, I'm sure. Like you said, what is it? He has the odds of fourth or third.
He's in. Most places have him about on just under right after Vingegaard. A lot of have him in that fourth position there, 25-1. So yeah.
Stage 18, the next one you have, starts in Lourdes, goes to Hautacam.
Wow,
nailed it.
Yeah.
That's Thursday, July 21st. It's 143 kilometers, high mountains, right, with a summit finish at Hautacam.
Yeah, this is a Pyrenean stage.
Yep.
Probably favors Pogacar, but we're hoping that Roglic already has the race in hand at this point. Right. At least I'm hoping that.
Me too. Wild climb, 13 kilometers at 7.8%.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, and then we didn't write it down, but stage 20 is that rolling 40-kilometer time trial.
Right.
Jumbo Visma is going to want to have like 5 minutes on top of Pogačar at this point after what happened in 2020.
Yeah.
So,
Primo's more of a time trial specialist.
Yeah.
I'd say. Yeah.
He is certainly a better time trial, one of the best time trialists in the race.
Right.
But after what happened in 2020 with that collapse,
right,
or whatever you want to call it, really, they're going to be nervous and they're going to want to take as much time out of Pogačar as they can. So really, Ineos, Jumbo, if they want to beat Pog, they're going to have to take as much time early in that first week and that second week.
Right.
And hopefully it'll make for an incredible race.
How do you feel about the final stage of the race being the time trial?
I like it. It'd be cool if one year the Tour did what the Giro does and have actually stage 21 be in a time trial.
Yeah.
I think that would make for a really tense finish.
Yeah.
It seems to work pretty well. The way they've been, they've stuck to that format a lot. How do you feel about the first stage being a time trial?
Oh, I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think stage 1 time trials can be a little boring.
Yep.
But I think the riders probably prefer it because you get the GC nice and sorted out
right.
to start off. And,
right.
Those sprint stages can just be pure sprint stages.
Even though I guess it might be more fun for it to be like stage 3.
Yeah.
Yeah,
well, when there isn't a time trial to start the race, you end up with a lot of all the different teams competing.
Yep.
In that up until that last 5K or whatever, the GC riders are trying to stay up at the front too, and it can lead to crashes often, I think.
Yep.
So,
yep. One thing we didn't mention is Cav not going to the Tour.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan. It's wild that he's not at the Tour.
I disagree.
You do?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you that I don't like Cav.
Yeah.
But I disagree in that I think we knew kind of from the get-go.
We have heard it for a while.
Jakobsen was the
right.
Quick-Step's main guy.
Right.
Cav himself acted surprised when the news came out. I think that's BS. I think he had to have known right from the get-go that he wasn't the top pick for that squad.
And this is a decision that they made a long time ago. A lot of people are like, oh, he just won the British National Road Championship. Right.
Right.
But
Patrick Lefevre knew in
last year,
July of 2021, that he was going to send Fabio instead.
Right.
So,
is he going to do the Vuelta?
I have no idea.
We don't need to talk about Cav anymore. Yeah, that's
fair
okay.
enough.
Yeah. So we're I think we're both sort of leaning in the same direction. Nothing against Pog, but it'd be great to see Primoz win overall.
Yes.
Let's just have a Jumbo Visma sweep, Maybe just, I don't mean to sound like too much of a homer, but you'd love to see Wout in the green jersey and Jonas in the white jersey, right? But I do think it's going to be exciting, and you can't count Pog out. Mm-hmm. And we're sort of just talking about these two, right? Do you say it's them 1-2, right? They're 1-2, whoever comes in first, right? Between the two of them. Yeah. Do you really think Thomas has a shot for third?
I do. Yeah. I think if I was going to place a bet, I wager Thomas over Vingegaard.
Yeah.
I mean, Jonas has not led a Grand Tour or even really a stage race, I think.
Right.
I think he's too green.
Right.
Even if he does end up in that position, I don't think he'll know what to do with himself.
Right. People are high on his performance at the Dauphiné. Not that he let Primoz win, but they were challenging each other or riding with each other a lot. And there was that one stage where Primoz let Jonas win at the end, and I think Jonas could have left him in the dust. But that doesn't mean that that's what his form is going to be on July 1st through the 24th. Right? It's a very different race.
Yeah.
And sometimes, that part of peaking in your training, right? Maybe Jonas peaked a couple weeks ago and Primoz is going to peak in 2 weeks, right? And so
quite possibly.
It's very there's all of those dynamics behind, right? It's much more complicated than just riding your bike. And if you happen to be listening to this and you don't ride your bike a lot, the importance of sustaining yourself over that many days at that many kilometers. I mean, I ride my bike a lot. This is wild what they do.
It is.
Yeah.
And that's another factor is what we've usually seen is that Pogačar gets better as the 3 weeks go on.
Yes.
Whereas Roglic comes in hot and then starts to lose form. So
right.
Hopefully Jumbo-Visma's got that figured out and Roglic keeps his winning ways all 3 weeks.
Or at least they can like keep Pog out of it somehow, you know, by like strategic attacks. They do have a better strategic team, but...
Yes. I mean, just attack them early, just in the wind, on the hills, whenever you can. Just put them under pressure.
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's going to be exciting. Any other things that you'd like to talk about before we get started?
No.
I mean, you know, before the tour gets started.
Yeah, I think we covered it, you know. It's a great race. Again, let's just pray that both those guys stay healthy.
Right.
And we get a great race.
We don't want a COVID race.
No.
That would be bad.
Yeah,
they better be quarantining already.
Hopefully.
Right? Everyone better be quarantining already. Look what they put on the front cover of this shit. I guess it's the winner from last year.
Yeah, what can you do? He
does look like a true cyclist, though, doesn't he?
He does. Pogačar is like the picture of cycling.
Not a former skier like Primoz. Yeah, thank you so much, Cal.
Hey, man, this was awesome.
Yeah, we'll be coming at you with more episodes throughout the course of the tour and then a recap episode. Hopefully this, I don't know, inspires more people to watch professional cycling.
Yeah.
I really enjoy it. Right, Cal, you really enjoy it. I think a lot of people that we ride with don't necessarily watch pro cycling. This is the tour is a good way to get into it because there's a lot of coverage of it.
Hell yeah.
Sort of the easiest thing to watch. I know a lot of people don't have cable anymore. There's places to watch it if you don't have cable.
Yeah.
Subscription services or otherwise maybe.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Thank you, Cal, and we'll be back more with soon.
Thanks, John.
We'll be back soon with more. Yes.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks,
bye.
buddy.
Decaf left, regular right. Decaf left, regular right. It's very challenging work.